Today, we're diving deep into your brain's very own reset button. We're talking about the incredible, built-in system it uses to manage your emotional world and, somehow, always find its way back to balance.
You know, you've probably felt this. You get that huge win you've been working towards, or you face a really tough loss, and you think that feeling, the high or the low, is going to stick around forever. But it almost never does, right? So why is that? What is going on inside our heads that keeps pulling us back to the middle?
Well, the answer is just fascinating. It turns out your brain has this built-in emotional thermostat that's always, and I mean always, working behind the scenes to keep things stable. And today we're going to pull back the curtain and see exactly how it pulls that off.
All right, so to really get a handle on this thermostat, we first have to talk about our emotional baseline. It's what scientists like to call our set point.
We are surprisingly bad at predicting how things will actually make us feel long-term. We think getting that big promotion is going to change our lives forever. But after a few months, it just feels like the new normal. And on the flip side, we're convinced that a major setback will absolutely crush us. But more often than not, we find a way through. We are way more resilient than we think. This return to normal isn't just you. It's a core part of the human experience.
And there's a name for this whole phenomenon, hedonic adaptation. It's basically our brain's default programming to recalibrate, to return to a stable level of happiness no matter what life throws at us. It's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just how we're wired. It's a survival mechanism that stops us from getting stuck on cloud nine or in the depths of despair forever.
So, what's actually pulling the strings on this emotional thermostat? What's the machinery behind it all? Well, to answer that, we need to meet a really cool part of our brain's internal architecture.
Say hello to the default mode network, or the DMN. And honestly, the best way to think about it is like your mind's screensaver. It's the network that lights up whenever you're not focused on something in the outside world. It's what's running when you're daydreaming, reflecting on your day, or just letting your mind wander.
But don't let the name screensaver fool you. This thing is incredibly busy. The DMN is where the magic of our inner world happens. It's where we think about ourselves, replay memories, plan out our future, and try to figure out what other people are thinking and feeling. It's basically the headquarters for who we are.
And this makes total sense, right? We're social creatures through and through. We're constantly trying to figure out where we fit in. And the DMN is the engine room that powers all of that complex, social, self-reflective thought.
But here's the thing, the DMN isn't a solo act, not at all. It's part of a much bigger, much more dynamic system, a constant balancing act that's always striving for equilibrium.
This fundamental principle is called homeostasis. You've heard of it for your body, like regulating temperature, but your brain does the exact same thing for your internal world. It's always adapting to keep things stable and balanced. And the DMN, it's a key player in all of this.
Okay, so picture a seesaw. On one end, you've got the DMN, handling your internal world, your thoughts, your memories. On the other end, you have your attention networks. These are the parts of your brain that fire up when you're focused on something external, like doing a puzzle or listening to a friend. Now here's the cool part. These two networks are what scientists call anti-correlated. When one goes up, the other goes down. When you're focused on the outside world, your DMN quiets down, and vice versa. It's this beautiful push and pull that lets us flexibly shift our focus from our inner world to the outer world and back.
That all sounds great, but what happens when that seesaw gets stuck? What happens when that delicate balance is thrown completely out of whack?
Well, a lot of research shows that in conditions like depression or chronic stress, the default mode network can become hyperconnected, basically overactive. It's like it gets stuck in the on position and just refuses to quiet down even when it's supposed to.
And the consequences of an overactive DMN, well, they might sound pretty familiar. It's linked directly to rumination. You know, getting stuck in those negative thought loops that just go around and around. It fuels that harsh inner critic and makes it incredibly hard to focus on anything else because the internal chatter is just so loud.
So this brings up a really important question. If the DMN can get stuck, can we unstick it? And the answer, thankfully, is a resounding yes. We actually have the power to regulate this network and, in a very real way, rewire our inner world.
One of the most powerful and accessible tools is mindful movement. And look, this doesn't have to be complicated. We're talking about simple, rhythmic stuff like walking or yoga, paired with steady, conscious breathing. And here's a pro tip. Movements that cross the midline of your body, like touching your right hand to your left knee, are especially good for getting both sides of your brain to talk to each other.
The science behind why this works is just amazing. Mindful movement literally calms your nervous system down. It improves your heart rate variability, which is a key marker of resilience.
It helps quiet down the brain's alarm center, the amygdala. And this is huge. It strengthens the connection between that alarm center and the prefrontal cortex, which is your brain's CEO of emotional regulation. Okay, here's a technique that sounds a little weird, but trust me, it's incredibly powerful for fighting back against that hedonic adaptation we talked about. It's called negative visualization. For just a moment, instead of dreaming about what you want, imagine your life without the good things you already have. Think about a time you were really struggling and compare it to where you are now. The point isn't to feel bad, it's to generate a massive wave of genuine gratitude.
What this does is simple but profound. By truly appreciating what you have and recognizing how far you've come, you're reminding yourself of your own power, your own agency. It reconnects you to the fact that your choices matter, and that's a seriously potent antidote to feeling stuck or helpless.
And for our last technique, let's go back to the beginning. Remember how we called the DMN the social brain? Well, it turns out one of the absolute best ways to keep it healthy and regulated is to use it for what it was designed for: connecting with other people. Social connection isn't just a nice thing to have, it's a fundamental neurological need.
Get this, psychologists have found that something as simple as meeting up with a friend for a chat can give your brain the same level of benefit as doing a mentally stimulating activity like a crossword puzzle. How cool is that? It engages your DMN in a positive, productive way, helping restore that all-important internal balance.
So here's the bottom line. Your brain's default mode, that emotional set point, it's not fixed. It's not set in stone. It is adaptable. You have the tools, through mindful movement, through gratitude, through real human connection, to tweak your own emotional thermostat. So the only real question left is, what are you going to choose as your new default?